All right. Real quick before we start talking about this game, I would go so far as to call it a little bit of an embarrassing game. I want to say real quick, apologies to anybody who was in the post-game stream just now, like maybe half an hour ago. I know that there were problems. I know that a lot of people in the chat were saying that they couldn't get the stream to work as intended. They had issues with the stream looping. They had issues with the stream cutting out. So my apologies for that. Obviously, the intent of those streams is to capture my first initial reaction to Seahawks games. And hopefully going forward, the streams will work a little bit better. There was nothing I could do about it today, but hopefully next time it'll go better. But yeah, that's a loss. That's a week one loss. That's a week one home loss. And I'm going to be perfectly honest. I don't think we can really blame Seahawks fans. Near as I could tell, Seahawks fans showed up. I'm not saying there were no Niners fans in that stadium, but Seahawks fans showed up and represented. Game got loud at the right moments. I think they showed up, and the team did not pull their weight. So not going to be blaming Seahawks fans for selling their tickets to Niners fans this time. I'm not to say that didn't happen at all, but we had what we needed in the stands to get an advantage to win this game, and we simply didn't. So 17-13, lose to the Niners. The Niners who lost George Kittle in the first quarter. The Niners who lost Jawan Jennings in, I think it was the third quarter. The Niners who didn't really get a good game from Trent Williams. The Niners who missed multiple field goals that were highly, highly makeable, like pretty much chip shots in this league. And none of it matters because the defense, which I'm going to give them some get-out-of-jail-free cards here because I'm sure they were tired. They give up a late touchdown drive. They can't protect the lead. Mostly on the head of Woolen. And the offense is terrible. Like, I struggle to understand how you can be that bad offensively. Like, it takes a lot for me to say this. It really does. But in a completely different way, that game was about as bad as any bad stuff that I saw from Ryan Grubb last year. It wasn't the same kind of bad, but it was about as bad. So here we are in a hole, last place in the division, going across the country to Pittsburgh next week. I hate to be the one who talks like this, but this thing can spin out of control very quickly here. And I don't know what to expect now. Let's start with the offense because they're the side of the ball that just needs to be run through a wood chipper at the moment because there's really nothing on that offense that I can say much of anything good about except for JSN. And not to say JSN was perfect. He obviously had problems, and Charbonnet was okay, I suppose. Charbonnet more or less did what he could out there, but man, you have how many months to prepare for this game? You bring in this new offensive coordinator that people are hyping. You talk about run the ball. We're going to run the ball. We're going to run it. We're going to be a tough-nosed, smash-mouth team. And you've got, what, not even 250 yards from scrimmage? Not even 220? Again, at home, week one against a Niners team that isn't stacked anymore. Before I go any further into this, I want to tell you a little bit about my friends over at Sleeper. Have you heard about the Sleeper app? It is the best way to experience and connect over sports together with other users. It's a one-stop shop for all your sports needs. Go download the app now. You can celebrate and chat on games in real time with others. You can get the fastest scores, news, and alerts, all that right at your fingertips. And of course, you can play in fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. So you can enjoy sports the way they were meant to be, together. Download the #1 sports app today. And when you go, use promo code SBN, that is SBN, and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. So check out Sleeper today. Don't forget promo code SBN. This is not the Niners of old. This is not that 49ers team that had DeForest Buckner or Eric Armstead or Javarius Ward or Malik Mustafa or Dre Greenlaw. They don't have those guys. They've got Bosa. They got Warner. They got some other pretty interesting players. They got Lenore's okay. They got a couple other decent players, don't get me wrong, and they did play probably a little bit above their weight tonight, or today, excuse me, but that is not a team that should be holding you to probably one of the lowest yard totals in the entire NFL for this week. There will not be very many teams that are not even getting anywhere close to 250 yards of offense in 60 minutes. And it's not like you didn't get there because you had a bunch of short fields that you cashed in on. You didn't have like a 10-yard touchdown drive in this game or something to skew the stats. No, you just couldn't move the ball, and it goes deep. All the way from the top. I thought Kubiak was a disaster today. He did stick to the run. I want to say that, but I didn't see anything effective from the run game. And again, maybe that's more on the players, but Kubiak is here in part to help find ways to run the ball even without having great offensive linemen. That was the point. That's why he's here. Didn't really see a lot of that this week. So that was a mission failure. And the passing attack was nothing but spamming the ball to JSN. Sam Darnold completed 16 passes in this game. 9 of them were to JSN. Darnold had 143 net passing yards in this game. JSN had 124 yards. That's not an NFL offense. That's something you do in Madden when you're trying to see how many yards you can get for a particular receiver in one game just for fun, right? This is not something you should see in an NFL football game. And the reasons why that happened run deep. I thought Cooper Kupp played an atrocious game. I thought Cooper Kupp was awful. Like a couple more games like that, and Torrey Horton's taking his job, and Cooper Kupp's going to be out of the league in a couple years. Like he had a drop. He had a big drop on third down that probably would have been a big play. And then he runs a bad route on third down and medium. That means he only gets 7 yards when he needs 8. And it leads to us kicking the field goal instead of keeping the drive alive. And it opens up the door for what the Niners did at the end. So that is a F- disaster from Cooper Kupp. Elijah Arroyo, really nothing from him, nothing from Ken Walker. This team cannot block for Ken Walker at all. Every time he goes in the game, they just completely forget how to block. Nothing from, I think we had one combined catch from the tight ends, right? Elijah Arroyo had one catch and nothing else to the tight ends. I don't even know if we had another tight end target. You spend this whole offseason talking about how this offense was going to be all about featuring tight ends, heavy tight end usage, and then the first game out there, nothing. You get nothing from your tight ends. Again, the whole offense is built out of JSN. And JSN, he did play a good game, but he did have a big drop and he did have a big fumble. So even he doesn't get away unscathed here. And all I'm going to say is this. I'm not saying he played bad. I'm not saying JSN was bad at all. But to all the people out there who spent the last 6 years grilling DK Metcalf because of drops, fumbles, and penalties, you got 2 of the 3 from JSN today. You got 2 of 3 from JSN today. So keep the same energy. And then, I mean, that's basically everything except the quarterback. And I'm sorry, that wasn't good enough. Sam Darnold had 2 chances to make big boy throws in the first half. One was on a long conversion opportunity where he just let it go too early. He had another one to JSN where he just missed. He had an easy open out route for I think it was like a 3rd and 12 conversion or 3rd and 13, and he just missed. It doesn't really make sense why he missed. He just did. And he went into that final drive with less than 2 minutes to go in the game. Minute 30 drive with less than 100 passing yards. He needed the last 90 seconds of the game to get over 100 yards passing. I'm going to stress that here. I know people are going to defend him because he did almost lead them down the field and win the game at the end. And look, he made some nice throws on that drive. And I'm not going to completely drill him for the fumble. I mean, it's still a fumble, right? And I think he had Cooper Kupp open on that play. So there is a little bit of me that is looking at that and going, I think he had an opportunity to hit that and he just didn't. But it shouldn't come to that. It shouldn't come to that. Seahawks had one good drive this whole game in the second quarter. Then they had the half a good drive right before the right before the end of the half, which is mostly scripted. And then we had a short field goal drive in the fourth, and then we had the almost game-winning drive at the end. Like that's not good enough, especially when your other drives, for the most part, are 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. And again, I think that Kubiak bears a lot of the blame here, but Darnold still had a couple chances to make big-time throws in that first half, and he didn't. Now, second half, I thought he made a few, and not all of them converted because of drops, because of mistakes by other players. I'm not sitting here and saying that Sam Darnold's terrible, but I will say I think it needs to be said right now, and I'm sorry. I know some people out there are gonna defend him, but this was exactly the kind of thing I was worried about when we made the decisions we made in the offseason. Like, I kind of talked myself into it, but there was definitely a part of me that looked at this and went, look, I know Sam Darnold is a decent quarterback. I know he can play. I know he's not some terrible quarterback, but what happens at the end of a close game? What happens when we need to go down the field and score with 2 minutes left? Get a touchdown, get a field goal, whatever. What happens in those spots? And through one game, you can say Sam Darnold came close, but he didn't win it. He still came up with the big turnover inside the 10-yard line. He still wasn't able to finish. He'll have other opportunities to finish, but today, I mean, look, he sets himself up in this spot anyway, right? He does nothing basically the whole game. You got to come through in those moments then. Anthony Bradford, really frustrating to hear this whole offseason about how, oh, Anthony Bradford looks so much better, and then he goes out there and plays like that. I don't think anybody on the offensive line is super proud of what they did. Abe Lucas getting dog walked on that crucial play. Look, Nick Bosa's Nick Bosa, but the day after, well, not the day after, but a few days after you give him that extension, I'm sorry, I need a little bit better. I need a little bit better than that. I don't know if any of the offensive linemen can be super proud. Offhand, I'd say that Charles Cross probably played okay. Sundell blew a screen pass. There was actually one screen that looked like it was going to work, but Sundell didn't get out fast enough. Gray Zabel, he's a rookie. To my eye, he played, okay, but it's not what we were being billed, right? We were being billed something different, and we did not get it today. That was about as pathetic an offensive showing as we saw from any Seahawks game last year with Grubb. And the defense, look, the defense played well enough to win. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. The defense, they stopped the run. McCaffrey, Robinson, they didn't really do that much in this game. McCaffrey, most of his damage was done through the air, but as a running back, he was just whatever. Other than, until they got to the fourth quarter, they did a pretty good job. There was pretty good tackling for the most part. I thought that some of the stuff we schemed up was pretty reasonable, but despite the end of game pretty good result where you give up 17 points. We gave up 17 points in this game. That should be enough to win most games. So I'm not hating on the defense. In fact, I want to give a big shout out to guys like Josh Jobe, who I thought played a good game. I think that Ernest Jones played a good game. Julian Love may have been our best player in this whole game. I thought he was awesome. Julian Love, great stuff from him. Kobe Bryant, for the most part, was pretty good. Leonard Williams, it wasn't perfect. I know he had the rough penalty at the start of the game, but I thought he did well. And even that penalty, it's like, I can't really get mad at him for that. What's he supposed to do? Jaron Reed looked pretty good to me. So there's plenty of guys on that defense I can give kudos to, but there's a couple. Ty Okada, I don't think there's any purpose. I don't think there's any value in going after him. He shouldn't be out there. He's not an NFL caliber safety. He was forced out there because Emanwari gets hurt on the first play, and that's another element of this game, right? Like, Emanwari leaves the first play. He's a big part of your plans for this one, and after one play, you're just denied him. Like that's not easy to overcome, but Okada, that was really, really bad. I don't know what you do about that anymore. I hope the solution is he never plays no matter what. Like, you get Shaq Griffin out there, you bring back Jarek Reed, you promote D'Anthony Bell, somebody that isn't Ty Okada, because I thought he was atrocious out there today. He may have been our worst player, but the guy who really needs to be fried right now is Reek Woolen. That was probably the worst game of his career, and I'm done. I'm done. I was going to keep an open mind this year. I know that there are some people that love Reek Woolen, but that was as bad as it gets in the biggest moment. He made 3 or 4 atrocious plays in that fourth quarter. I think they were all in the fourth quarter. 4 atrocious plays when, if he does his job, then he's probably sealing a win. He had an interception to basically win the game on 3rd and goal in the end zone. That's what you dream about. That's what you live for as a football player. And he just keeps floating backwards until the receiver can get in front of him. It's like, I guess he doesn't want that money, because it wasn't just that. It was the illegal contact, and then he gives up the big pass to Pearsall anyway. It was, I'm going to have good coverage on Pearsall going down the sideline, but then I'm going to stop for no reason and let Pearsall get behind me with the ball in the air. I just completely misjudged the ball. Like, I don't think I don't think this is going to work anymore. Like, he's had over a year with Mike McDonald, and we're still having moments like this. And now we're having a moment like this in week 1. This is the first game of the year, and Woolen's already doing stuff like this, where it's not just giving stuff up, it's embarrassing yourself. Like, that is legitimately a sports not top 10. That is a Sports Center not top 10 sequence from Reek Woolen. And with all the deficiencies he has in other parts of his game, he needs to go somewhere else after that one. So I have some ire for him. I think our pass rush was pretty anemic for most of the game. I think they probably wore down as the game went on, but I wasn't crazy impressed with them regardless. But hey, you hold a team to 17 points. You force 2 interceptions, 2 pretty big interceptions. Shout out Ernest Jones. Shout out Josh Jobe. They both did their job out there overall today, I think. You should win, especially when the other team is missing field goals and you're blocking a field goal. Those are like turnovers. Those are basically turnovers. I know that they're a special teams thing, but that's another thing, right? The Niners, we won the special teams battle, and we still found a way to lose this game. The Niners had no Kittle after the first quarter. They lost Jawan Jennings in the third quarter. The Trent Williams probably isn't 100% right now. They've got real problems at this moment, and still they find a way to beat you at the end. So I'm in a little bit of, I don't want to call it panic mode, but there's definitely a big part of me where I'm kind of like, okay, we need to step back and reset. We need to reconsider this. I was very vocal back before the season way back before the season started, back in, February, March, April, when I saw the way the offseason was going, where we traded some of our best offensive players, where we brought in a guy like a Sam Darnold, where we brought in a guy like a Cooper Kupp, who I could have gone either way on, admittedly, where we spent some draft picks in areas that just didn't make sense to me. I saw these things and I didn't like it, and I said I didn't like it. And over time, I kind of sort of talked myself into it. But I'm looking back at the way I felt after the free agency opened in March and after the immediate aftermath of that draft in April. And I'm like, I might have had the right idea here. I think I may have been closer to the truth than I wanted to be. And I was closer to the truth than I am going into this season. Sorry, a game like that, you've got to throw your priors out and reconsider this. That Niners team was trying to hand you the game with all the stuff they were doing on special teams, with their turnovers, with their injuries to their best offensive players, and you could not find a way to do it. Maybe this team just isn't ready. That's kind of where I am right now mentally. I'm sorry. So I'm going to be going live on YouTube tonight after dinner, probably during like the second half of the Sunday night game. But we got big problems, people. We got big problems, and I've kind of made a conscious decision over the last few months to not talk about that so much, but After watching a game like that, I'm not playing that it's just one game, it's just week one card. I'm not. There's no way I'm doing that for this one. This was way more than just one game. And you had it all in front of you. You had 9 yards to go for look, if we had won that game at the end, it wouldn't have changed the fact that the offense was inexcusably bad for most of that game. But at least we would have started with a win, and then we could say, well, maybe we can make some key improvements here. We could at least say, hey, the defense did this and that. For the most part, they were good. But you come out of there with a loss. Things can spiral out of control very quickly, and this can become just a completely lost season. And we'll prove the haters right. All right. Sorry to be down on this, but I don't know any other way to be. I don't know any other way to be right now. I think that was kind of pathetic. I think losing that game is kind of pathetic. Not that I give credit to most of the defense. I give credit to the special teams. They did their thing, but losing that game at home with everything going for you like that, kind of pathetic. All right. See you guys in stream tonight. Go Hawks, but 0-1.